Hello everyone, welcome to my world. Now I have slightly different project to share today, and it is to do with my artist trading cards, and I've been doing these for about a year, maybe 18 months now. And as I finish each one, they just end up in this bag, which I think is a real shame because I went to a lot of trouble to design, and I've shared them with you on my channel. So I was thinking about how I could organize these, and this is what I've come up with, and I'm using the Laminator pouches again. I did a project with those a few weeks ago, and that's what I'm going to use for this. Now I'm going to start by doing one of my pages, and so I've got a piece of pretty paper here. And the good thing about this, it's one-sided, so I didn't have to worry about sacrificing one side and the difficulty of choosing the other. So I'm going to use it at 12, but I'm also going to trim it to 8 1/4. There. And then I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm just using this so as I don't have to, because it's easy to line up the corners and everything when you use a nice square. So that's what I've got. Right, so I'm going to use this on another project, not quite sure yet what, but I will. So I'm just going to stick these two pieces together, and I'm going to use this glue stick. Now don't ask me why I'm using glue stick, because I really don't know, other than I have seen other paper crafters use it for doing big areas like this rather than trying to use a liquid, and they speak highly of the method. So I've decided that I'm gonna go with their experience, and then I'm just going to get this little, it's a solvent glue, so it dries nice and quick. And I'm just going to put it round the edges. Now I'm doing this bit first because I need to let this dry before I do the next bit. And then I'll explain why this page is the size it is. So I'm just going to take away this gluey bit. And then we just fold that over, and then just gently push that out. And I'm just going to use a dried wet wipe to just make sure all my glue is all nicely splodged around inside, and like that. So hopefully that is nice and firmly stuck down. So that's my first part, and I'm going to let that dry out for a few moments. So the next part was to make a cover, and the reason that my book is the size it is because I had a bunch of this paper, chipboard, grey board as they call it here in the UK, but chipboard in the States. I had a bunch of it pre-cut, and it's like 8.5 by 7, and rather than go to all the trouble of resizing it, etc., I decided that I would just go ahead and use it as it is. And I have a piece of paper. This one is double-sided. which I'm going to use to cover it. So all I did was just sort of draw it and then trim round it, and that's where it's going to sit. So to save time, I've pre-covered it with double-sided tape. So just added it like this. There we go. And I am going to use some liquid on the edges, again hoping that it will help it just stick, but also it will help it maneuver a bit before I stick it down. I guess what I could have done was to left the edge pieces with just a little tab sticking out, but I've already taken it off now. And just to make sure I've got belt and braces, or belt and suspenders for my American viewers, there's a little bit of glue stick as well, just to make sure. And you can see I already drew my I drew it in, so I know exactly where I needed it to be, so I wasn't having to fuss around while on camera. So this is a weeny bit on the wide side for my 6-inch wide page. However, I figured that would give me some room to put some tabs on the edge of the pages. So we're just going to create my corners. I'm just going to, it's not exactly even, but it won't show. There we go. It's probably a bit too close, but I'm happy with it, because at the end of the day, it's just for me. I think I've got enough there to deal with. Concentrate a bit more, Cindy, now. So we're going, instead of going like that, we're just going to go like, I just want to leave a small piece on the corners to make them neat, like that. Right, so to make a nice neat edge, I'm just going to use my bone folder and run it down each side, and that should help folding it over the edges without the paper getting too distressed and cracking. Right, and then we're just going to gently fold it up, just gently roll it over like that, and then we can do like that. So we will put some double-sided tape on this side there, and we'll put another piece just slightly below. Now you can go ahead and you can use whatever adhesive that you like. I just happen to prefer tape. I'm going to run a bead of adhesive down the edge so I've got something to stick the edge of my paper to, and I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid there as well. So again, just gently roll that over and bring that down, and then we've got a lovely neat edge, and we're just going to tuck that in, that little bit. This bit was where I kind of goofed a little, but I think we can, yeah, we can save the day. So we're just going to go ahead and do this on all of our sides, and another bit there. And I'll just go ahead and put some on here. Hopefully I'm still in camera. This is a bigger project than I would normally do, so hopefully we are firing on all cylinders. Right, so that's that. Smooth that down, make sure that's all in a good place. And then we're just going to gently curl that up and persuade it over. And off with the tape. And then some liquid. And then some liquid on here. And then just going to curl it over again. Make sure that that adheres on the edges. Give a good clean edge. Right, so that's 2, and now we just quickly do the last. Oh dear, I didn't curl that one up before I took the tape off. Let's curl it up. Let's do that little edge in there, make sure that that's nicely tucked in. There, I think we're good there. Right, so again, we're going to run some adhesive down that side piece just to make sure that that's stuck nicely, and then make it a nice finish here. And then our final bit, I'll remember to roll this nicely over this time. Oh, we need to just, this is what I'm focusing on, this little corner piece. We just need to push it in so that it will fold in and make a nice, neat corner. There we go. And so off with the tape. And a bead of adhesive down the fold, and then on my tape. There we go. I will put the top on because this is a solvent based adhesive, and it really dries quickly in the tube. And then you have to get your pin out and start. Right, start trying to dig it out. So then I'm just going to put a little adhesive underneath that corner and underneath this corner. There and there, just to hold that in. And then to cover up my big old gap, I've got some sort of antique-ified music paper. This is just a kit that I had, I found online, and it's all sort of, looks like it's been done on tea-dyed paper, which is nice. Right, so there's that, and another little bit of this adhesive around the edge. And so we'll stick this on, and then I will set it to one side for the adhesives to set, because the next stage I don't want it to slip. So we're just going to pop that in the middle like that and get that just set down. So there we have our cover. Brilliant, good job. Now we can get back to our page, and because I needed it to set before I did the next bit. Now I said that I'd use my laminator sheets for this project, and I had seen others create pockets using like acetate window sheets and stitched it on. I wasn't really a fan of that because I don't know as my sewing machine would like it. Then I saw that you can buy pockets that are got adhesive on, and you can just stick them. And I thought, oh, maybe I can go one better. So I got my laminator out, and I got one of the lamination pockets, and I ran it through. Now, word of warning, and this is someone speaking from painful experience, make sure that when you put your pockets through the laminator, I'm going to just fish one out now. Is that when you put it through, normally you would have some paper or a card in there which would keep it nice and sturdy. I found that if I put it through without anything in it, it actually rolled through the heat roller and round the heat roller, and we had to take it apart to get it all off. So what I then did was, making sure you got your seam through first, put a piece of paper on it just like this, and just feed it through like that, and it comes out, and you've got your sort of sealed pocket. So I tested it out on some paper and with some adhesives, and this is what happened. It's really firm on there. It's nice and sturdy, and you can see through it. So let me show you how I did that bit. So again, for my project, I decided that I needed, and I'm going to work on a pad so as you can hopefully see, I actually cut these 6 inches wide, which is the width of my piece of paper. and I think 1.5 deep. That looks like 1.5, no, 1.25 deep, because I thought that that would fit well for if you were to put your my cards in like this. I thought, yep, that would fit in nice and well. It would hold them in place and not be too sort of go too far up the card. So then I got some really fine double-sided tape. I don't know what the thickness of this is. it just is really thin. I think it's probably what, 1/8. And I ran as close to the edge as I could make it on 3 sides, like this. Okay. And then I got my page, and the back in off there here. I don't know what I'd do without this little pokey tool to get these, because it's so much easier to get this off. I'm literally just sort of sliding it halfway, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and off it comes. And then with my adhesive again, I'm running a bead of that just on the tape, right down here. Like that. And then I'm just going to attach it to the bottom here. And having that liquid on it helps me maneuver it a little bit before it actually sticks down firmly. So let's get that like that. And then with my ruler, I mark like 4 inches from the top, 4 inches top and bottom there from the top. And then I've got my next one, like that. Again with some of the liquid. I figured that liquid wouldn't stick terribly well to the laminator pocket, but the tape would. And then I thought, well, the liquid would help stick to the paper. So that's what made me decide to put both the liquid and the tape on. Right, there's my mark. So there's one 4-inch mark, and there's the other. And then we can just we've just got some oozing there. That's fine, no worries, we don't mind that. So I'll just do the other side, and then I'll show you how well they do fit in. My little cards. And I think I shall be making more of these as my card collection grows, because then I can look through them and see what I've done before rather than repeat myself, I thought I would divide them into things like, if I do seasons or holidays, you know, like Christmas and Valentine's and stuff like that. I thought I could divide into like steampunk, so I could see what I've got with my steampunk ones. And then cute, I got some ones that are really like sort of cartoony cute. And the other thing is I actually have used these, some of my artist trading cards to make a greetings card. My sister-in-law fell in love with one of my artist trading cards and asked if I could make it into a birthday card for her, for a friend of hers. I've also used them in a junk journal. So I think that by having them more visible, I think I might use them more. I guess one day I'd trade. If anyone out there'd like to trade, you can contact me. I'd love to trade. Right, so let's just double check. So you can see that I want to be careful because obviously that's still wet. So like that. Now I'm thinking I can certainly get two like this, but I do have a few like this one that is that way, and I can only get one of those, but that's okay. I don't mind that. I think that's just as good. So then I can probably get like between 6 and 8 per page. So there's my idea. So now let's just pull it all together. So it probably doesn't surprise you that I have already made some pages up, and I got my spiral binder machine out. So we're going to go ahead and finish this off because I've got enough pages in my little book. So this is my binding machine, and so I'm going to put my holes on the raw edge. So where I've got these raw edge, so on the page. So right, I've already checked the instructions and I need 15 holes for this one. So I've got that lined up, and this is a little added extra my husband did for me, because sometimes if you're trying to do this, it keeps falling over. So he got me this block of wood and it stands like that. So we're going to do there, and then on my 2, 3, 4, 5, on my 5th one, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then push that in and there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is just lining everything up so that I get my holes all neatly punched. There we go. Now I know it's going through my bands, but I don't mind. That will just hold them steady. So this is my last page. I'm going to add it to the others like that. And I also did a fly sheet. I just got some vellum and punched it. So I've done a fly sheet, and I've done one front and back. So now we're going to do the back cover. So we've got this here. Get my special little block of wood. And so I'm just going to set this up. Now, I need to punch on this side. Okay, so we're going to put this in. And we're going to punch. It's going to be a bit of a toughie there. And then repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It's out the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll explain in a minute why I'm counting, because that might help you understand. And it's all in the little manual for the book, so it's not like I'm doing anything magic. It's not the easiest book to work through though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the way that I'm doing this is so that we get the right number of holes, and we don't sort of put a hole at the very end or half a hole at the very end. Right. Now, I'm not sure how well this is going to see, but with this, when I was doing the counting, it was here. There's a little pip here that holds it in place so that you can go work your way along the along your cover and your page and get them evenly spaced. There are lots of different machines out there on the market, so I'm not endorsing this one. It's just one I have. So there's videos out there on how to use these. Now then, here comes the bit that we've got to work. I've got to remember how this has to go. I think you have to put this so that the two covers are back to back. I think that's how it works. And then that comes like that. Right, so we need to reorganize this. Right, so we're going to take this off after I've carefully put it, and then this has to go like that, and then we pop this back on, and this is so that the mechanism is inside, the cinch is inside. It's probably easier to do it this way, Cindy. Yeah. Okay, we'll just be patient. See, look, as soon as you do that, it goes in sweet as a nut. You start to get clever. Right, so this is going to be the front cover, and this is going to be the back cover. And this is a 1-inch binder, so I have to put this in and adjust this to 1 inch so I can just get it out, in and out. And then we put this in like this, and we gently squeeze. Oh, I think I've got it upside down. Maybe not. We gently squeeze. There we are. And this will only allow it to squeeze so far. It won't allow you to over squeeze. I just need to go in a little bit more. I think I was a bit wary about it. There we are. And then, if all works, oh shoot, I think I've got it the wrong way round. I think I was right the first time. Anyway, I will sort that out in my next video. But the important thing was to show you how to use Laminator Pockets to create an album for my artist trading cards. And so I think that with this one, it will probably hold about 50, maybe a bit more, not sure. But you can see that I've got all of these pages ready to fill once I work out how to put the binding ring on. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I certainly enjoyed sharing it with you, despite the fact it didn't quite work at the very end. But if you have enjoyed this, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please share, subscribe and like. And I'd certainly like to thank you very much for choosing to spend some time with me today. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye for now.